Okay, everybody, so it is a little bit after 3:30, so we're going to go ahead and get started on this right now. My name is Caleb Rothy, and I'm going to be taking us through Edpuzzle and talking about how we can use that to make video viewing interactive in today's session. So really appreciate everybody joining us for this session today, and I'm going to do my best to try to make this as interactive as possible. After all, that is kind of the theme of this lesson. So if you have questions, you can jump in and ask questions at any point. And also, while I'm demoing things, I would love it if you had a tab open and could just kind of experiment on your own. I typically prefer to do a session like this in person where I can stand up at the front and you can be on a computer and you can kind of be poking around and trying different features. So we'll try to emulate that as much as possible here and allow you to kind of experiment and try different things. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So here are kind of our tasks for today's session. We want to discover Edpuzzle, kind of figure out what that's all about. I want to help you get your account set up so that it's already ready to go. I want to show you how you can import your classes from Google Classroom and use those with Edpuzzle. Then I want to show you how we can find videos in Edpuzzle, customize video lessons, assign a video for other students to use, and then reuse already made videos as well. So that's kind of our list of objectives for this. And let's go ahead and dive in right now. So the first question that I hope is on your mind when you came here today was, what is Edpuzzle? So in a nutshell, Edpuzzle allows you to take videos that you want to use with your class. Maybe it's a video that's on YouTube, or maybe it's a video that you make yourself. Maybe it's a Screencastify recording that you do with your lecture notes, or you're going through a PowerPoint for your students or something like that. It allows you to take a video like that and turn it into, instead of a passive activity where students press play and they watch it, or maybe they don't, and eventually it's over and there's nothing for them to do with it, but just, hopefully they paid attention to it. It allows us to make that video instead interactive. So you get to add things like questions into the video where students will be watching the YouTube video and it will pause and a question will pop up on the screen and they cannot advance and watch the next part until they answer the question. And so you can now make the video more interactive. Hey, you just went over this section, now answer a comprehension question. Or the speaker in the video mentioned this, now here's a thought-provoking question. We want you, type in your thoughts. What's your reflection? What's your big takeaway from that? So it makes it much more interactive with questions, with voiceovers, and heck, you can even use this to kind of cut up videos and splice them and make edits and say, hey, this is a really good video, but the first 3 minutes, I don't want students to watch. It's kind of a waste of their time. Let's just hone in on the key part of the video. So Edpuzzle allows you to do all of that. The other great thing is it allows you to do all of that totally for free. Now, there are free and paid versions of Edpuzzle. The free version will allow you to make up to 20 video lessons. The paid version allows you to go beyond the 20. But even for those first 20 that are free, you're not limited to just certain features. You get the whole suite of everything in Edpuzzle. And for a lot of us, we might use a lesson once and then move on. Well, you can delete some of those old lessons. So you can always have up to 20 at any given point. And when you're ready to make the 21st, maybe you just delete one of those, maybe your first lesson just goes by the wayside. And now you can always keep it at, just my 20 most recent lessons in this. So the next question, now that we know what Edpuzzle is, let's take a look at why Edpuzzle. Why do I believe in this so much? Why do I think teachers should be using tools like this more frequently in their class? Well, the first part is it really amps up student agency and flexibility in your class. We talk about universal design for learning all the time. We talk about students needing to have a little bit more control over their educational environment. Edpuzzle allows students to watch the video at their own pace. It allows them to pause, go back, rewind, see something again, and then answer questions as we go through it. It also allows you as the teacher to hold every student accountable. You can see who has watched the video, who went all the way beginning to end, who has answered the questions, how many questions did they get right. And when you're using something like Edpuzzle, students won't be able to skip ahead. They won't be able to go open up other tabs and things like that. They'll just be focused in on this one particular video lesson. Also, it allows you to get 100% student participation because you will have a record of who completed the assignment, who watched the video, and how students did on those questions. So, what is it? Why would I use it? Now we need to answer the when question. When is it good to use Edpuzzle? Well, the most obvious answer for this for a lot of teachers is going to be in class. I can do this as an in-class assignment. So we've got some ideas up there of ways that you can use it in class. You could use this as part of a station rotation model where one of your student stations is an Edpuzzle activity that they're doing independent from you. Or this could be individual work, or this could be a listening comprehension activity in class, or this could be a, hey, once you're done, if you've got extra time, there's a couple of Edpuzzle assignments that are posted in Google Classroom. Go do one of those as an extension activity. You can also use Edpuzzle out of class. So you can think about it as a homework assignment for your students. So if you're interested in doing a flipped classroom where students learn the content at home and then do the application and practice in classroom, you could have students learning content by watching a video in Edpuzzle. Maybe it's a video you made that teaches them something, and then that's their homework assignment. Or they could do something at home where, like, you taught a math problem in class, but they're really struggling with it. You give them an Edpuzzle demonstration to look at home as they're working through their homework. That's a great tool for this as well. You can use it to introduce grammar and vocabulary. You can use it to prepare for tomorrow's class discussion. There's a lot of different ways to use it at home. And another great way that teachers like using this is for review. So we taught the lesson, we learned everything. Now I'm going to create an Edpuzzle activity that will review key unit concepts, or will be an exam study guide, or it'll be a chance for students to review classroom rules or lab rules or something like that. And you can't do the lab until you watch this video, answer all the questions, and get 100%. That's how we're checking out who has followed all the rules and learned everything that they need to learn. So lots of use cases for this, lots of flexibility for you. So hopefully I've sold you on this. Hopefully you're like, yes, this sounds good. It's free. It sounds powerful. It sounds forward thinking and progressive in my class. It's going to take videos that I already know I want to use and up the interactivity, up the student engagement, up the buy-in a little bit. Where do we get started with this? So here's where we're going to get started. And this is the part that I want to be interactive. I want you all to jump in on this. Step number one is going to be to go to edpuzzle.com. So if you can open up a second tab in your browser and head over to edpuzzle.com, that's where we'll get you started. Once you're at edpuzzle.com, what you're going to do is go to the upper right-hand corner, and you'll notice over there that there's a little sign up button. I want you to click that sign up button. You're going to get two questions right there. Are you a teacher or are you a student? You want to pick the I'm a teacher route so that you'll be able to make video lessons yourself. Then you're going to use that sign in with Google button, because we're going to make sure we tie this to our redlandschools.net account. That's going to allow us to link it into Google Classroom. That's a key step for us. So once you sign in with Google, it's going to, ask you for all your credentials and do all that kind of stuff. And then it will establish the account for you, and it'll bring you into your brand new Edpuzzle account. All right, let me pause here for a second. Any questions that have come up? Anybody that needs some assistance? All right, so this is the dashboard. Everybody is in there right now. I'm going to actually switch my tabs so that you can see a different portion. Okay, so now I'm showing you, hopefully you can see my Edpuzzle dashboard over here. And you'll see I've got a couple of Edpuzzles that I've made before. Yours is probably empty right now, and that's totally fine. What I want to start off with is I want to show you how to get your classes into Edpuzzle first. So over on the left-hand side, you will notice a little area that says My Classes right over here on this side. And you'll see I've got some classes here. You might not have any yet. So the first thing we want to do is import your classes from Google Classroom. And to do that, you're just going to head over here to this plus button. Click the plus. And then you've got two options. One is to create a class manually. I don't recommend that since we're already using Google Classroom. So down below it says connect your LMS class, and you'll notice, boom, there's a whole button over here for Google Classroom. So you're going to go ahead and tap Google Classroom, and it's going to now look up your account, and it's going to find all of your different Google Classrooms that you have that are active right now. So if you're an elementary teacher, there might just be one classroom there. Let's say it's this one. You're going to tap that. Then it's going to ask you for the grade level. Go ahead and select that. That part is pretty important because it helps customize what videos it shows you. So if you're a fifth grade teacher, they're just going to give you good videos for fifth grade. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to select, let's go 10th grade for this. And then also a subject area. This is key as well because it'll allow you to focus in on videos that are most appropriate for your subject area. So if you are a secondary teacher, you can pick the exact subject area here. And then for elementary, I'm trying to remember what the general recommendation was that I had.
Mine had a choice for general ed.
Oh, right, because I picked a 10th grade level. So it's giving me all those options. So if I go to second grade, then it's going to give me the general ed option in there. All right, so if you're an elementary teacher, you're probably doing it once for your one Google Classroom. If you're a secondary teacher, you probably need to repeat this process 5 times, one for each of your class periods. Or hey, if you're an elementary teacher that's got a couple of different Google Classrooms, maybe you need to do it a couple of times. So I'm going to pause here for a second, and I'm going to let you just get your classes set up and import those things in, and then you should see them down here on the left-hand side. Continue to keep working in the background, even though you hear the sound of my voice. I just want to check in and see how everybody's doing right now. Find out, Louise, Becky, Valerie, Daniel, if any of you have any questions or if there's any hiccups that have come up so far.
I'm good.
Okay. Daniel, I see you talking, but your mic is muted right now. Oh, still muted. All right, Daniel, you can put it in the chat if you can't get the mute to undo there. And Becky, I saw your note in the chat. All good. It's fine that you don't have your camera on. If you can figure out how to unmute, you can do it that way, or in the chat works fine as well. Okay, so Daniel, you were asking, is it compatible with Aries? Not directly, because Aries isn't an LMS. It's just a student rostering system. So what you're going to want to do is establish Google. First of all, you can make classrooms manual. Like you could set them up that way. If you want to pull in students automatically, what you'll need to do is first establish some Google Classrooms, which can be synced with Aries. So your Google Classroom can pull students in that way. And even if you're not using the Google Classroom like for assignments in class, you could pull all of your students in that way and then pull your students from Google Classroom into Edpuzzle. But really, once we're done with this, I think you're going to see that establishing a Google Classroom, even if all you use it for is Edpuzzle, is the way to go, because it makes getting the links out to students super simple if you integrate Edpuzzle and Google Classroom together. Okay, and Louise, great. Thank you for checking in. I see that you've already got your classes all loaded. Okay. So if everybody's good, you just give me a thumbs up in the camera if you are. If everybody's good, I'll move on to the next portion. All right. So let's talk about this now. In Edpuzzle, what you're going to want to do most of the time is you're going to want to add content. You're going to want to create a video lesson of some sort. There's all sorts of ways to mix and match once you go there. But the main button that I want you to know about is up here in the upper right-hand corner. That's the blue Add Content button. So I'm going to click it. You can watch my demo, and then you can also try it yourself. But if you're ready to add content, all you do is you click that button. And then Edpuzzle basically says, what kind of content do you want to add? Do you want to discover video content that is already in Edpuzzle? Great, we can do that. Do you want to upload a video that you made? Maybe you recorded a video with Screencastify or Loom or WeVideo, or heck, maybe it was just even with your cell phone, and you got it over to your computer. If you've already got a video, you can use the upload option right there. You also have the ability in Edpuzzle to just record a video right here. So if you decided, hey, I want to do an Edpuzzle tomorrow morning, but I haven't made the video yet, right inside Edpuzzle, you can just record your own quick video here. And then also you can do student projects. That's a little bit more advanced. Don't worry about that for now. After you've got a little bit of experience with Edpuzzle, you can experiment with that. But for today, to get started, I want all of us to select the Discovering Video Content option. Ooh, and now mine's not working. Let me refresh, everybody. Sorry. Oh, because I'm already there. Okay, great. So I'm already on the Discover tab over here. You'll notice it says Discover up here at the top. Another way to get there is over here on the left-hand side. You've got the little Discover option over there. And so this is a good place for you to discover stuff that is already inside Edpuzzle. Typically, this is stuff that maybe another teacher somewhere else in the United States already created and then is allowing you to basically take their work and reuse it for your class. So for me, I've got 3 tabs over here across the top, and I want you to check those out. Sorry, Valerie, do you have a question?
No, not me.
So I've got 3 tabs over here on the top. What do I want to discover? My first option are videos from the community. The second option are videos from my school, which is kind of neat if you end up working with a couple of other teachers at your school and they all create Edpuzzle accounts. You'll be able to see each other's videos. So if you're teaching with another 2nd grade teacher and they go, hey, I made this awesome Edpuzzle, check it out, you'll be able to find it in the My School area as long as you both indicated that you're at the same school during the account creation phase. And then the third option here is YouTube. So this is, let me go find some stuff that is on YouTube already and pull that in. So let's start off with the community tab, everybody. So over here on the community tab, I have a list of videos that come from the general community. And I want to point out at first that I've got some sorting options over here. So this is the part where I want you all to help me out. In the subjects drop down, I've got a whole lot of subjects available to me. Somebody share with me, what's one subject that you think we might want to peruse right now?
Math.
Math. All right. So I'm going to pick math as my subject. I'm going to click save. And so now it's going to filter out everything that is not math related and just get me down to these couple things that are here. All right, now grade levels. Maybe I want to filter this thing down by grade levels. I don't want kindergarten math necessarily. Maybe I'm trying to do something that's on target with middle school or high school. So for this, let's go again with Valerie's suggestion. Let's do high school, but I don't want to limit this just to 9th grade because I never know. Let's say we're working on some polynomials. I never know if other teachers in other states are doing that just exclusively in 9th grade, or some do it in 9th, some do it in 10th, some do it in 11th. So I'm going to kind of turn on all the grade levels that might make sense for this. I might even shift it down and pull in like 8th grade as well. And I'm going to click save. So you'll see every time I do this, I'm starting to get more and more narrow with my particular results here. I also have the ability to sort by country and to sort by source, things that are Edpuzzle hosted or on YouTube. And at some point, if I've decided I've turned on too many filters, I can always erase a couple of these things. So now we're taking a look at some of these videos that have come up. And man, there's one over here that caught my eye, cooking pasta. It's 1:17. I see Gordon Ramsay over here. And I can see that this one has been created by another teacher. So their name is right down over here. And I can also see this teacher has added 2 things in, 2 stop points in the video. So this one contains 2 questions or notes. And if I go over here to this one at the right, it says cooking terms, also made by the same person. This is a 5-minute video, and it includes 7 questions or notes in it. So I can kind of look through and try to find something that I think works for my class. And I also have the ability to do some searching in here. So we talked about the filters. Now let's go up here to the search box at the top. So up there it says search or paste YouTube URL up here. Let's do a quick search for something. So Valerie, give me a math topic that we might want to have students working on as part of a video lesson.
Divide polynomials.
Polynomials, okay. And I hope while you all are watching this, I'm doing a math search. I hope you're searching for something that's relevant for your class. So same tools, same technique, but you're practicing kind of your own search. So I'm going to type in polynomials. I'm going to do a search for it. And now I've got all the videos related to polynomials that Edpuzzle could find. And you'll notice my little filters went away. So if I want to continue to do a little bit of additional filtering, I can do that now. But let's say we take a look at this first one over here. Oh my gosh, it's 30 minutes and 40 seconds long. That feels a little long for this assignment. But over here, if I take a look at this one, this is created by John Hollenbaugh. It's 5 minutes, 43 seconds. It's got 5 questions in it, and it's all about multiplying polynomials, polynomial by polynomial. Hey, this looks pretty good. I might want to use this in my class. So once you find a video that looks good for you, I want to encourage you to click on that video and make your screen kind of look like mine. All right, give me a thumb up if you've got a video selected in your screen. Kind of looks like mine, just with a different video in there. Daniel's good. Louise has got it. Great. Becky's good. Okay. Valerie, good?
Yeah, I'm good. How do you, okay, you put in what you wanted, and then how do you get it to search for that? Do you hit the discover again, or what do you hit? Add
So I'll
content?
show you one more time if you can go back to the meet thing. I typed in polynomials up here. And once I finish typing it in, you'll notice I got this blue search button available to me.
Okay.
So you can click that, or you can press enter on your keyboard. Both do the same thing. Oh, enter didn't work for me. Okay, so I got to click that search button.
Okay.
And then it'll do a search for that keyword. And I'm going to grab the polynomials video that was already created. Now, this is an Edpuzzle activity. This was made by some other teacher. His name is John Hollenbaugh. And so he is the one that has set this up. And I want to give you a little tutorial of what John has done so far. In the middle here, you will see the video, and we'll be able to play this in a second. You'll see the name of this Edpuzzle assignment. It's multiplying polynomials, polynomial by polynomial. You'll see the author of it over here. And then on the right-hand side, you'll see a list of video events. So in this video at the 2:19 mark, John has added an open-ended question. Then at 2:19, there's also a multiple choice question and another open-ended question, all at 2:19, which means students have to answer the open-ended, the multiple choice, and then the other open-ended when they get to 2 minutes and 19 seconds. And they have to do all that before they can go on to the next piece. Then at 4:47, there's another open-ended question. And at 5:39, there's another open-ended question. All right, now I'm going to scroll down a little bit, and I want to show you over here below the video that I've got a couple of buttons over here. I've got the play button, which would allow me to watch this. But if I look at the timeline down here at the bottom of the video, you'll see here are the little points where something has been added. So here's the little marker for 2:19. Here's a marker for 4:47. Here's a marker for 5:39. And I'm going to preview for you right now what John Hollenbaugh created. So I'm going to click play on the video.
Hey Math 1, this is your second installment on multiplying polynomials, where we are going to start multiplying a binomial. To do that, we will use
All right, so I'm going to skip ahead a little bit because I don't think we all want to learn the first 2 minutes and 19 seconds.
And that would, I'm going to break apart during the box.
So hopefully you can see on my timeline down at the bottom, I'm just jumping ahead. All right, I'm going to jump ahead right before this little question, and you'll see what happens once we get to it.
2. Once I have done that, I am going to...
So it paused right over here, and you'll notice over here it says this is a preview. Your answers won't be saved because I'm just looking at the video. But boom, here's the first open-ended question. Multiply this polynomial times this polynomial, and here's a box where students would have to type in their answer. And notice that next question, I cannot go to it because I haven't typed anything as the answer. I also have the ability as a student to go back and rewatch if there's something I've spaced out, wasn't paying attention. I can go back and rewatch this session if I need to. So let's type in a totally wrong answer. Not even using the right variables in here. But I've typed in a wrong answer, and I go to next question. And again, remember, we put in 3 questions here, so I can't even watch the next part of the video. I have to answer this multiple choice question. When we multiply a polynomial by a polynomial, we use a method called the box method, bag method, crate method, bin method. Let's go with box method. When I check it, then it allows me to go to the next question. I get another open-ended, I answer it, and then I'm finally ready to move on to the next portion of the video. Oh, next question. Oh, I got 100 out of that. Good. I know my polynomials. And
to
I'm
group
continuing.
diagonally.
So once I answer that, then the video just resumes, and I can watch everything up
And
to the next stop.
On top.
So as a teacher using this for the first time, what you would want to do is find a video that looks promising, and then you'd want to go in here and basically audit what that other teacher set up. Do you like those questions? Are those questions in the right place? You would obviously want to watch the whole video yourself and make sure it's a good quality video, but then look at the questions. And then you've got a choice to make. So the first choice is you might love everything that John did. And if you do, and you don't want to make any changes at all you have to do is go up here and click assign, and you could assign this video lesson that John came up with to your class right now. Post it into Google Classroom, and they could do this thing tomorrow morning. There's no work to do on your part. You just had to review what somebody else created. Pretty cool and free. Now, there might be another option, though, that you look at this and you go, I like the video. I don't like John's questions. I would like to customize this. I would like the questions to be different. You got two options on this front. The first is you can scroll down, and it's not true for all the videos, but it is for this one. You'll notice on my screen, it says there are 39 other video versions of this. And that means there are 39 other teachers that have used this same video, but have made their own questions to it. So if you like the video, but you don't love John's questions, you might want to check out maybe Steven's questions or Keith's questions or Rachel's or Omar's or Steven's. Oh man, Steven's done it twice, maybe with two different types of questions. I can click show more. And so I can go through and take a look at a lot of these other versions in here. And it seems like, man, oddly, all of them are using 5 questions. So maybe they've just all duplicated John's work and they don't actually have other versions of this in there. But that's something you could check on. So let's take a look at one of the other ones. I'm going to look at, let's look at Stephen Bell's version. So I'm going to click on Stephen's over here, and notice it now gives me the same video, and it's got the same 5 questions, but now it's a longer version of the video. So Stephen's going to show his students more of the video than John was initially showing over there. So if you click through and you find, oh, you know what? I like the video, but I like Stephen's questions more, or I like Rachel's questions more. You can click on Rachel's version and then choose to assign Rachel's version to your class instead. Now, what if instead you look at this and you go, great video, nobody has just the right questions for my class. I'm very particular as a teacher. I want a little bit more customization over that. I want to keep 2 of the questions, I want to delete one of them, and I want to modify 2 of the other ones. Well, for that, what you would want to do is come up here and click the edit button. And you'll notice when it says edit here, it says edit and create your own version. So whatever video you have right now, I want you to go up and hover over the edit button, and I want you to click that. This now will change what your screen looks like. So this portion now is kind of the edit portion of all this. It takes you in behind the scenes, and it allows you to customize what this video is going to look like. So you'll notice over here, let's first start with this. You'll see my blue bar down here shows where the video starts and where the video ends. So if you decide that you instead...
Here are plenty of boxes.
If you decide, hey, I don't want the video to start at 0 minutes and 0 seconds. I actually needed to start right at 41 seconds. You can slide it and start it wherever you want. So I'm going to put it right here at 41 seconds. And so now that's the length of the video that's going to be used in my Edpuzzle activity. And now what I can do is I can go in here and I can drop in on some of, I think, whose video do I have? Rachel's maybe? I can't remember. I'm going to drop in here on Rachel's question. So I clicked over here on her first question. It says multiply this over here. And I now have a pencil button, and I can either edit her question and make it say something else. Or if I don't like it at all and I say, I don't want students to do that multiplication right there, I've got the trash can here too, and I can just delete that first question that was in here. So you have the ability to remove questions that other teachers have added. Because remember, we're using theirs as like a jumping off point. We made our own copy and we're editing it now. And you also have the option to keep their question where it is, but to change something about the question. So if you notice a typo, or if you want to give 4 different multiple choice answers, you can modify that as well. All right,
And you
let's
do-
say we're,
And you do that with what, the pencil?
yeah. So what I do is I will click on one of these questions and it'll show me what that question looks like over here. If I want to edit it, I click the pencil. If I want to delete it, I click the trash can and it's gone.
Okay.
All right, so now what if we're watching this thing and then oops, let's leave that where it is. I'm going to move over here with my little timeline tool.
Pairs of binomials.
So if I move the video to this point and at 3:32, I go, you know what? I wish Rachel had asked a question for the students right there. I wish she had asked a comprehension question. I want to add one myself. I just put my little time bar, which you'll notice right here. I put that where I want the question to be. And then from here, I'm going to go up here to the top. You'll notice you've got cut as a menu. That's where you can cut the video up. So you can figure out like which portions of the video do I want to show. Voiceover allows me to add a voiceover. So maybe I want the video to pause and I want to explain something because I'm going to explain it a little bit differently. I've done that before also with history videos where students are watching the video and I go, they forgot some key details right here. I want the video to pause and then they're going to hear from Mr. Rothy and I'm going to say, actually, in the War of 1812, or another way that you can solve this polynomial is by, and I'll kind of add my own voiceover. And then lastly, the one you're probably most interested in is question. So this is that part where we were deciding, you know what? I wish Rachel had asked one more question. I wish she'd put a question right over here. What I'm going to do is move my cursor to where I want that question to be. And then here on the right-hand side, I have the ability to add some additional questions. So what kind of question do we want to add to this? And again, I encourage you to do this right now. I know you haven't watched the video, so like make a junk question. It's fine, but let's just practice that skill together. You've got three options on the side. Do you want to add a multiple choice question, which is great because Edpuzzle can grade that for you, right? And so it'll take care of a lot of your grading for you. Or do you want to add an open-ended question? This is where students could type in a response. Maybe it is just the number 7 is the correct response, or maybe like it's a fill in the blank question and they're going to type in elephant. And if they type in elephant, that's right. Or maybe it's more, hey, after this part, explain another way to solve this problem. And that's going to be a little bit more open-ended. I could add it like that. Or I could also add a note, which is the video just plays and it stops. And on the screen, a note from their teacher pops up and they have to read the note and then they click play and they can keep watching after they read my note. So for right now, the one I'm going to demo is a multiple choice question. I'm just going to click that option. And I hope you'll do it the same.
Caleb, can I ask you a question? How did you get it to come up? Did you click on the dot where you wanted it to be placed?
Yeah, so what I did first was I went up to the questions menu up here and I clicked on that, right?
Right, I've done that.
And then on the timeline here below the video, I basically moved this little dot to where I wanted to put a new question on the timeline.
Okay, so that's
you've
not
got-
a question that they already have. That's the dot on the thing. Okay.
Correct. Yeah. So the questions they have are these little like teardrops below it. The dot that's on the line is basically where I am in the timeline of the video.
Gotcha. Thank you.
You're welcome. And another thing you can do, Valerie, this is a good question. Let's say I'm watching this video and I decide where I want to put a question. I can just pause right where I want that question to be.
And
so I'm
6
watching.
times 1 is 6. I group diagonally, which gives me 8n squared plus 26.
And I'm just going to pause the video there because that's where I want it to stop. That's where my little dot is, right where I paused. And now I'm ready to ask my multiple choice question. So everybody, let's create a multiple choice question right now. Y multiply diagonally. And you can come up with whatever question you want right now. And so now I'm going to give students some options, right? It's multiple choice. All right, my first option is because that's how you do it. My second option is going to be because Mr. Rothy said so. So right now I just have 2 multiple choice options. If I decide, you know what, I want to go with the traditional 4, I can add down here. You'll notice you have this little add another answer choice. So I'm just going to click that. And I'm going to say because the sky is blue. And then I'm going to add one more option. And this one is going to be I like tacos. Now, little pro tip on these answers. We just did the most common version of this, but I want you to notice that as your answers, you also have bold, italic, underline. You have things like superscripts for exponents and subscripts. You can insert a link in as part of a question or as part of an answer. You can insert an image. So if you're working with some pre-readers that are just listening, doing listening comprehension, all of your answers can be images. Maybe they're just, like different emojis that show how people are feeling. You've got a lot of flexibility there. And then for math teachers, you also have the insert equation option. So there's a little very basic equation editor that exists in here. All right, right now, I want you to notice that on my screen, all 4 of these answers are marked as incorrect. That red X is on. So that means no matter what a student picks, it's going to be marked as wrong when it goes to grade. So what I need to do is go back next, and I need to decide which one is going to be counted as a correct answer. So for me, this second one, because Mr. Rothi said so, that is the correct answer to this question. And so I'm going to turn that on, and I just clicked the green check, meaning any student that clicks this, give them credit for answering it. So you can also do something where you're like, I will accept A or C as right answers, and you can do a check for both of those. It doesn't, though, say students need to pick A and C. It's basically like A or C gives them credit. It's not a multi-select option on this. Okay, so if you've got the multiple choice questions set up the way that you want it to, now you can just click Save. And hey, that's going to grade it for you automatically when you assign this to your class. And you'll notice over here on my screen now, there's a multiple choice question that happens right over here. Y multiply diagonally. I've got 4 options, and boom, that's going to be the correct answer that gives students a point on that. So now you could just repeat this process. You could go through and you could add 5 more questions, 2 more questions. Some can be multiple choice. Some can be short answer. Some could be teacher notes. I mean, we don't have to do it 8 times. I think you kind of get the gist of all that. All right, I think I gave a lot to you right now. Let me pause and see what questions have come up. What could you use some clarification on? I see Daniel shaking his head. He's like, nah, I'm good.
And you can delete their questions, correct? The whole entire question?
You can delete a question, yeah. So Valerie, if you decide you don't like my question about why multiply diagonally and you're the editor, you just click the trash can and boom, that question's gone. Okay. Becky, how we doing? And Louise, same thing. You can just put it in the chat if you're good. Oh, Becky, you got your mic open. Okay. Okay, so let's fast forward into the future. We threw away all the old bad questions. We added some new questions. We put some thought-provoking open-ended questions in there. We even threw some teacher notes in there. And we're like, this thing is now a masterpiece. What do I do with this now? The first thing you're going to do is head to the upper right-hand corner, and you're going to, oh, I should mention, in the upper left portion, you'll see the Edpuzzle logo, and then you will also see the title of this Edpuzzle assignment and a little pencil next to it. If you decide you don't want this to be called multiplying polynomials, polynomial by polynomial, you can click the little edit pencil up there and you can give it a new title. So I'm going to call it multiplying polynomials the good way. And then I'm going to click save title, and that just updates the title for my version of this video. I didn't change Rachel's work. I didn't change John's work. They still have their videos intact. I just use theirs as a jumping off point for customizing my own. All right, now, once you've got that all set, you're going to click the finish button in the upper right-hand corner. And that now brings you back into this view where you can kind of preview what does this video assignment look like. And you'll notice now it says this one was created by Caleb Rothi. Yay! I made my own version of this. And so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to draw your attention again to the upper right-hand corner area. The first option that we have here is assign. I can now take this Edpuzzle assignment and I can assign it to one or more of my Google Classrooms. I can go back in and edit it again if I want. If I want to change some questions around or move where they are in the video. I can share a preview of this with other teachers. So again, if I'm working really closely with another teacher down the hall and I make this, I could share a preview of it to them and say, hey, could you take a look at this? Do you think it's good? And then maybe they sign off and they say, it's awesome. Can I use this tomorrow as well? And then the next thing you'll see is who can see this video right now. And this one is marked as public. That's because I just made it, and by default, Edpuzzle makes it public so other teachers can reuse this if they want. Now, I recommend that we leave everything public so that other teachers can use our version if they want. But if you made one and you're like, I really don't want this out there, because, for instance, this one, I didn't take it seriously. I've got a rather ridiculous question in there. So I'm going to change this from public to private, which means it's not searchable in the Edpuzzle database anymore. I'm the only teacher that can see this one. No other teachers can find it. And then, as always, there's a little jelly bean button to the right of that. That allows me to duplicate this in case I wanted to make like version 2. Maybe I'm going to make a high version of this video with some complex questions and a low version of this video with some questions that are a little bit easier for some of my students that need a scaled version of this. You can duplicate it and make some different versions. You can also move it to a folder if you want to organize all these things. Or if you want to, you can delete the whole Edpuzzle assignment. Okay, so let's talk about what it would look like to assign this to a class right now. What I'd like everybody to do, we won't do it all the way, but I'd like you to go ahead and click the assign button. Just because I want to show you what this interface looks like and give you a chance to see it yourself. On the left-hand side, you will see a list of all of your Google Classrooms that you've incorporated, and they'll have a little Google Classroom icon there showing you that you pulled them in from Google Classroom. So all you have to do is go through and find out which class you want to assign it to. So over here, I'm going to assign it to Mr. Rothy's class. Pro tip for secondary teachers, you can select multiple classes at once. So this could go to periods 1, 2, and 3 all at the same time if you wanted to. All right, then on the right-hand side, I want you to take a look at the start date. So when do you want this to be available for students? Well, I certainly don't want it to be available starting today at 12 a.m. But I might click on this and say, hey, make this thing available on Thursday at like 8 o'clock, or maybe I don't want it to be available right before class. Maybe it's going to start at 8:45 a.m. or something like that. You can set it, and you can click Save. So that customizes when you want this to be available in Google Classroom. You can set a due date if you'd like. I always like due dates, so I'm going to put one in there. This thing is going to be due on Saturday, and it's going to be due not at 11:59 p.m. because I don't want students like staying up until midnight. But let's do something really weird. This is going to be due Saturday at like 8:27 p.m. And I'm going to click Save. So all of that works a lot like Google Classroom does. And then I want you to take a look at these two options down below it. You have a prevent skipping button. You can turn this on or off. So if you want students to be able to skip ahead, turn it off. I don't want students to be able to skip. So I'm going to leave prevent skipping on. They got to actually watch the video. They can't just skip ahead to the questions. Also, do I want this to post on Google Classroom? I do, because I want it to just appear in my Google Classroom. But if you don't want it to, like, the link to be there as an assignment in Classroom, you could turn that off. So I'm going to turn this on, but that part's up to you. And now you don't need to do this because you don't want to actually assign it, but I'll do it so that you can see what it looks like. I'm going to click Assign right now, and it's going to give me the little ... And boom, now it has been assigned to my Google Classroom. So when my students come in tomorrow morning at 8:45 a.m., they will see this posted as an assignment. It'll be created automatically. There'll be a link there. When they click the link, it'll take them to Edpuzzle. It'll say, hey, you got to log in with your Google account. They'll click, okay, log in with my Google account, and boom, they're in Edpuzzle. And as they answer questions, now Edpuzzle knows which student is answering the questions, and all of that data can be sent back to Google Classroom after the fact. So it's really nice and makes it super easy. And you'll see I have down here below, I've got a little list of all of my students. I can see what % of the video they've watched. I can see what grade they've gotten on it so far because I put my answer key in. I can see when they last watched it. I can see whether they turned it in to me or not. I've got basically all of this at my fingertips. I also have the question mode. So I can go through and I can see, you know, like what % of my students are getting certain questions right. Maybe I do this as a warm-up at the beginning of class, and then I see which ones students really struggled with. And afterwards I go, boom, those are the couple that we're going to review in class today because I really thought you'd be a little bit more proficient with this one or this one, whatever it may be. So that is basically how you create the assignment and get it out to students. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to back out of this. I'm going to go back up here to the main part of Edpuzzle. And I want to show you a little bit more on this dashboard. So if everybody could also click the Edpuzzle logo in the upper left-hand corner, it'll take you back to the main Edpuzzle dashboard. We've talked about Discover over here on the side, but I want to look at a few of these other menus over here. What I'd like you to do is navigate down to My Content. There's a folder there called My Content. And in here, you will see all of the Edpuzzle videos you made. So for me, I've made a whole bunch. And you'll notice I just made this new one. That's the one that you see there, Multiplying Polynomials the Good Way. So whenever you make one, even if you're not going to assign it yet, you can make it, and then it's all over here in your library of content that you made. And a reminder, you can have up to 20 here for free. And if you hit that 20 cap, you can just go delete a couple of these old ones, and then you've got new space to create some new videos. I also have over here on the side my network. This shows me other teachers at my school that are using this. Now, I put in for my school, Redlands Unified School District, so you're seeing other people that are like district level that have accounts. So I can see other people that are connected here. I can go in, for instance, and check out Nicole House's account, and if she shared some things with me, she doesn't have any public Edpuzzles to display. So that one's no good. Let's see if somebody else has one. Jen Hunt, boom. Jen Hunt has one. So here's her Edpuzzle video over here, and I could pull that in and I could reuse that myself because she's made that one public and she's part of my network because she works at my school. All right, let me show you one other thing on here, and this is the part that I think is super important. Let's go over to Discover. And I just want to mention that I've showed you the easiest way to get started with this. There will also come a time where you don't want to just use the videos that other teachers have created. And you're out on YouTube, you're looking for the perfect polynomial video or the perfect biology video or something like that. And you go through and you find it. And you go, I want to make an Edpuzzle out of this video that I found for scratch. How do I do that? Let me show you how that happens. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to go to YouTube. And I'm going to search around on YouTube for, Daniel, let's go with you this time. Give me a subject that we could look for. I know you said biology earlier. Give me like a topic in biology that we could search for. Cell cycle. Okay, so we're going to look up cell cycle. Oh, I just saw the question, Louise, that you asked. It will grade multiple choice automatically. I think for the open-ended, you have to grade those manually. So if you want an automatic graded one, then multiple choice is the way to go for that. So cell cycle. Ooh, this one looks good. Cell cycle with the Amoeba sisters. And how long is this one? I don't know. I'm going to click on it. And let's say we're watching this. We're like, okay, cool. The Amoeba sisters. This is pretty awesome. Yes, I want to use this to teach my students about the cell cycle. Okay, here's what I have to do. I've got to get the link to this video, and I'm going to drop this link in Edpuzzle so that I can start to build a video about this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here to the share link in YouTube. Everybody, I'm sure, is familiar with this. When I click share, it's going to give me this link to the YouTube video. So I'm going to click copy here. Now that I've got my URL for the perfect YouTube video, I'm now going to go back to Edpuzzle. And this time in Edpuzzle, up at the top, where we have this share or paste YouTube URL, instead of doing a keyword search here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to paste in that actual link to the YouTube video. I already found the exact video that I want to use. And so now I'm going to click search. And you're going to see that it pulls in that exact video for me. And so now what I can do is I can start to do all those things that we were talking about before, but from scratch. So I can say, hey, skip the beginning part of this. I want the video to start here. When we get here, I want to add a little cut in the video. So I want the video to stop here. And then I want to fast forward to this portion of the video. And then I'm going to shrink this portion of the video here. Okay, so students are just going to watch this blue part and that blue part there. All right, now I'm going to go out of VoiceOver, but I can't, since it's not a video that I own, I can't edit somebody else's video and put a VoiceOver over it. So I have to skip that part. But if I uploaded my own video, then I could add my own voiceover. But since it's somebody else's video on YouTube, I can't mess with that part of it. And then for questions, I can come in here and I can add just, the most awesome multiple choice questions of all time. So all the editing functions still work the same. When I'm done, I'm still going to click finish. And this allows me to create my very own video from scratch based on this video that I found in YouTube. So I don't always have to start with, the Edpuzzle version of it. I can just find something on YouTube itself. Then I'm going to scroll down, and if you'll notice this, remember this really awesome video that I found? As soon as I popped it over here into Edpuzzle, you'll see that other teachers also found this awesome video, and they've already made a whole bunch of these. So sometimes I like to use this. I find a video I like first, I drop it into Edpuzzle, and I see, have any other teachers already come up with great questions for this one, and can it save me a little bit of time? That's like the #1 way that I use Edpuzzle, is find my killer video in YouTube, bring it in, see if anybody else has already done a lot of the work for me, see if I can use theirs and maybe just modify a couple of questions. All right, now the other thing I should mention is this. We have some filtering here in the district that blocks certain videos from students being able to see them. So there are some videos that you may find that are already good to go. Maybe that's an educational video, it's in the education category, and so students are going to be able to watch the video on YouTube. And if they can watch it on YouTube, that means they can watch it in Edpuzzle. But if you come across an amazing video in YouTube that is maybe in like the people and blogs category, or it's in the comedy category, those things are getting blocked out so that students aren't off task at school. So what I always recommend is, if you find an awesome video that you'd like to use, just make sure that you go through the allow list process first and try to get that YouTube video approved before you want to use it in Edpuzzle. So as a reminder for that, all you have to do is get the URL for the video that you want to use, and then you're going to go to our Tech Coach website. And on our Tech Coach website, you'll notice that there is this allow list portion up here at the top. So if you go here, you can scroll down to our form, and on the form, you'll be able to say, hey, I want to request a specific YouTube video be allowed. This is going to be for secondary students. I'm going to click next. I'm going to drop the link to the YouTube URL in here. And then usually this process happens like, 48 hours or less to get something approved. But that's one of the things that I've discovered with Edpuzzle, is it's always good to make sure that the videos get allowed before you go to use it. Now, if you forget, there's a chance it might work in class without issue. There is a chance, though, that it's ready to go and you fire it up and none of your students can get to it because it's blocked. And so it's always best to just double check that ahead of time. One thing you can do, I know some teachers do this, is they will, the day before, have one of their students go in on a Chromebook and just go to YouTube and see if they can get access to that video. So maybe you like drop the link into Google Classroom and you ask your #1 student, hey, can you go to this link and view this video? If they can see it, you're good to go. You don't need to do the allow list. But if it gets blocked, then okay, I gotta double check this ahead of time and get it added. Okay, so Daniel, you were asking, can we upload a Discover Ed video? Videos that are in like Discovery Education? No, unfortunately, Discovery Education keeps all of their stuff kind of on their own private servers. So Edpuzzle at this time only pulls in public-facing videos that are on YouTube. So the two things you can do are pull in YouTube videos, which are already open to the public, and make videos yourself. So if you do your own Screencastify recording or WeVideo recording, you can pull those into Edpuzzle, but unfortunately not Discovery Ed videos. All right, I have a couple more things that I want to share with you, and then we're going to wrap it up here for today, because I think we went over like all of the main parts of this. All right, so let's skip a bit ahead in the slide deck. We covered most of these things that are already in the slide deck, but you can always go back to those later. In the slide deck, I did include a video tutorial in there called From the Student Perspective. So if you want to see, okay, what does this look like for my students? Because I want to be comfortable with that environment first. I found an awesome little video that goes over this, so you can watch that video when you get some time.
Okay, now let's look at what.
Yeah, we're good. We don't need to watch that right now. And I just wanted to suggest with you before we left some good tips for using this. Here's the way that I recommend doing it. I like to use this a lot as comprehension questions. So I recommend finding a video that you already know is killer, that maybe you even would have used a week ago. And now instead of just saying, hey, watch this, you can put some comprehension questions in there to make sure your students are actually paying attention to the video and learning. That's the key. That's why we're trying to put the video in front of them in the first place. My technique for that is to use multiple choice throughout the whole video so that those can all be automatically graded. And that's going to save me a lot of time as a teacher. I also like to add notes to emphasize certain points. You know, sometimes when you're watching a video, you can kind of like glaze over. You're kind of paying attention, but maybe not, you know, picking everything up. But all of a sudden, if the video stops, it snaps you out of that and it allows you to focus. So if you put a note in because there's a point that you want to emphasize, as soon as the video stops and the note is over there on the side, then students, you know, maybe digest that or hold on to that fact a little bit more. The other thing I recommend is putting open-ended questions at the end of the video for student reflection. That's the time that I always use the open-ended one. So you're going to do a whole lot of comprehension throughout. And at the end, I'm going to ask you more of a reflection type question. What did you learn? What did you find interesting? What was said in a unique way that was phrased differently than you've heard it before? And just allow that to be a little bit more open-ended so the students are composing a response. And maybe everybody gets full credit for that. You just go through afterwards and you manually grade that. As long as they were thoughtful, they get the points on that one. So it's not like a right or wrong answer. It's just, hey, what did you think? Certainly that pulls students into these things quite a bit. And then the other part is use Edpuzzle to trim unnecessary parts of the video just to save some time. Don't have students watch portions that they frankly don't need to be seen.